Hello, 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 and welcome. I'm Sheila Balgobin, known as the Dream Decipherer, and this is Dream Your Life, Live Your Dream Live, where we talk about all things dreams. And I have to apologize, I'm on live later than what was scheduled because I had to check in with my mentors. And for me to continue to be a good coach, I need to check in with my coaches and mentors from time to time, and the meetings ran over. But today's subject is looking at, with Halloween just passing, looking at monsters, why they may appear in our dreams and what they could possibly be representing for the dreamer. Now, monsters appear regularly in mythology, in religious books, in novels, everywhere. And as the writer Joseph Campbell wrote, myths are public dreams, while dreams are private myths. So we create our own stories, we create our own myths. And often the first thought that comes into our minds when we think of monsters or demons is to feel fear. Because primarily these monsters in some way, in some manner or form, represent evil. Something evil, so that their appearance or presence may actually in waking life be representing an unpleasant experience of some kind. So if we were to analyze a dream about demons, it would imply that we're dealing with something that we are uncomfortable with or outright dislike. Now, the monster or demon in the dream could represent a person, a particular situation, or maybe a crisis that a person is going through, that the dreamer is experiencing. We could even probably dream about a demon when we don't want to meet or bump into a person that we don't get along with. And we've literally demonized them, and they appear in our dreams in that form. We perhaps are feeling insecure in the presence of a certain person, and perhaps we just don't want to be in their presence. Then we don't want them making us feel uncomfortable. It may also indicate that you have come across someone who just you don't vibe with at all. They don't make you feel good, or engender negative feelings or unpleasant feelings of some kind. And that may simply be to make you aware on a conscious level to be more cautious around that person, or to limit your contact with that person. But if the dream isn't pointing towards a specific person, or you can't attach those feelings to a specific person, then you probably have to broaden out your perspective and look at it from a bigger point of view. Is there a situation or crisis that's happening in your life, or could be on the horizon that you're worried about dealing with? It may appear that this situation, it could be something that could ruin your life or destroy it in some way. And however you may be wishing to escape it, and that anxiety and that sensation or emotion is coming through in the dream. But just like in our reality, you can't escape your feelings in your dreams either. So it's something that as long as we turn our back and run from something, it will continue to pursue us. When we stand and face it, however, it will actually go away because you've cut it down to size instead of it becoming this big boogeyman chasing you. So we could say that in both mythology and in dreams across all cultures, monsters are associated with some kind of primal energy. The original darkness that we come from, the darkness that we fear, will swallow us up when we die, or if we lose our minds, or the light, literally the light of reason, fails us. So with this darkness, this empty space of of chaos, of the unknown, of the of life before the Big Bang, all of these which imply that there is a period of non-being or non-existence or chaos, and suddenly that which will precede, rather, something being created, something new happening, whether that transition or transformation comes through the grave or the womb, or in the belly of a whale, in the case of Jonah in the Bible. So this perceived darkness and chaos becomes the monster, the boogeyman, that threatens our belief that we have the delusion that we are in charge and in control of things. We're not. So dreams featuring monsters, you could say, are a reflection of inner turmoil and conflict. So these demons in our daily waking lives become transformed into these really frightening creatures, which should be, as always, a call to action. Something that will prompt you to confront what you've been avoiding or not looking at or being unaware of even, and somehow avoiding. Because knowledge is power. Once you understand what these dreams are trying to communicate and what situations they are framing for you, then you have the power to make some decisions and take some actions to change that reality. Remember, for the unconscious mind, dreams and reality are all the same thing. There's no distinction. So whatever you tell your unconscious mind becomes that reality, which is why things like mantras are so important, because you're programming your mind to see things in a different way. Now, dreams that feature monsters can evoke, of course, feelings of fear and dread, but they can also be a way of gaining insights into our inner world and what's actually going on, the things that we ignore, the things that we suppress, the things that we are even unaware of because we've buried them so deeply. So the meanings behind what these monsters signify will vary based on the dreamer and what's going on in the context of their day-to-day life. So, but they can be, again, give a valuable insight in and reflection of what is actually causing anxiety and upset within us, what challenges us, what is a call to grow in some area of our lives. So it's interesting that as we became more sophisticated, we lost that contact with what Jung called the numinous world, the world beyond what our five senses, or six senses if you're intuitive, can perceive. But indigenous cultures around the world have not lost this contact. This monstrous primal energy is something that they accept as a given, and they don't struggle against it or try to subdue it or suppress it. It may appear in their legends and myths and stories as a great lizard, a dragon, a serpent, or a monster that, like time itself, can devour and destroy, but also enacts or engenders new life, a new beginning. So it's all a matter of perspective. It's being endings and beginnings all happening at the same time. Now, these cultures will also honor the creative principle, or feminine, if you will, principle, and support being in relationship rather than dominating the natural world. A shaman once put forth the idea that the reason why that we're killing off our forests and whatnot, because they're uncontrollable, they're feminine and wet and dark and abundant and fertile, and somehow we seem to have lost that contact with that engendering process that is the natural world, the mother principle that engenders things. Now, there is we have, because we live in a dichotomous world, it's either or rather than both and, we either see the monster as something frightening, but as an enemy, but on a psychological level, it can be many things. Monsters can, when you would, for example, dream of being attacked by a monster, it may indicate that you're facing some kind of life-threatening situation or an extreme stress. But perhaps dreaming about being overwhelmed or suppressed by a monster could suggest that you're having to experience a shift in your luck or your ways of thinking, which can bring to an end a so-called bad streak. So if monsters are entering your home in your dream, it could be a warning, yes, about security, but it may be indicating that there are potential disputes on the horizon that are coming your way, and you may have to step back from things and to have a more objective view to be able to handle the situation when it actually arises. But if you're chasing the monster, it may mean that you're dodging a bullet somehow. It may mean that you're gaining a bit of control over a crisis perhaps that's going on in your life. But we're going to take a pause here for a moment and take a look at the various scenarios briefly and to see what the different monster scenarios could actually be meaning for the dreamer. So again, if you're being chased, it could be feelings of sadness or maybe even impending misfortunes. You're waiting for the axe to fall. Could it be that you're running away from difficulties and need to face them rather than trying to bury them or ignore them? If you dream of being killed by a monster, of course, that's not the best omen, but it doesn't mean, remember that dreams are symbolic, as if they were metaphors, so it's not a literal death, but it may mean the death of something within you, a way of being, a way of behaving, a communication or relationship. So there may be something that you're struggling against, or someone you may be struggling against, and it may be time to sit back and look at your relationships and see what is literally or figuratively making you sick. So there's something about that. Defeating a monster. Now, overcoming and killing a monster should be a positive sign, and it implies that you're overcoming challenges or perhaps actual adversaries of some kind. And there's a follow-on of success and recognition. So it also could be speaking towards the resilience of the dreamer in the face of obstacles, and kind of keeping on until the success, whatever that may look like or whatever that may mean for the dreamer, is obtained. And ultimately, overcoming challenges. If you dream of overcoming or challenging a monster and slaying it, or whatever the case may be, it may be you're acknowledging your ability to overcome difficulties, overcome the competition, again, leading to personal success. And recognition. The recognition only being by yourself. By you as the person recognizing that, as well as others recognizing that. But it's important for us to celebrate our victories even more than it is for others to celebrate it. So these dreams, all of these scenarios point to an opportunity to step back slightly from our lives, look at what is bedeviling us, what is seems to be diabolical in our lives, and basically finding the tools to slay the monster, or to at least to love that monster. Maybe it's a call to pick up or to endorse or to embody certain principles or behaviors that are beneficial to you. So there you have it, some thoughts about the monsters that appear in our lives and in our dreams, and what they have to teach us. And remember, our dreams are always a call to action, a call to make decisions that are beneficial to us. And I leave you with that thought, and also the call to, if there's a dream that you have that is monstrous in its implications to you, let's talk about it. I offer a free initial consultation, and we can look at your dream and decipher the message that it's trying to communicate to you. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Have a great rest of the day. And again, apologies for the late start, but I think the message is just as good later this afternoon as it would have been earlier today. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.